allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will start with the roll call. If everyone could introduce themselves, starting from the right.
Joe Crawford, Assistant Superintendent.
Jane Samard, Business Administrator.
Michael Flynn, Superintendent.
Michael Thiel, School Board Chair.
Jen Thoreau, School Board Vice Chair.
Jenna Paradise, School Board Secretary.
Karen Rand, School Board.
Jason McLeod, School Board.
Anthony Henry, Pinkerton Academy Representative.
All right, thank you, everybody. Our first order of business will be the consent agenda. For tonight, we have the public meeting minutes of October 28th, 2025. Approval of the following nomination: Erin Boyko, Special Education Teacher, South Range Elementary School. And approval of the manifest in the amount of $4,166,007.45, of which $1,261,216.23 is general payroll, and $2,904,791.22 is general expense. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
First by Jason.
I have a correction to the public meeting minutes for October 28th. It was listed in the meeting minutes that David Mills attended the State House Capitol field trip, but it was actually John Patusek, State Representative.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda with that amendment to the minutes?
So moved.
First by Jason.
Second.
Second by Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right, we have one presentation this evening. We're happy to welcome Mr. Velez, music teacher from Gilbert H. Hood Middle School, and his students.
Yeah, just briefly before they step up, thanks for coming again this evening. It's we really want to start to, the word that we've been saying is tell our story. So we're going to try and highlight what we're doing within the classroom and also extracurricular. So first up, got to set the bar high. No pressure.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Velez. I am the modern music teacher at Gilbert H. Hood Middle School with the 7th and 8th graders. Tonight I have 5 students here that are going to talk about some of the work that we've been doing in our class.
This trimester, Mr. Velez created a giant class project that allows participations from students outside the class. Each class wrote a song with help from Mr. Velez. We started by learning more about music genres, which helped us pick a genre and theme for our song. After this, we wrote down different words or phrases that supported the theme and assigned each a different rhythm. Then, Mr. Velez taught us about how chords and how some were happy or some were sad, and assigned numbers to each chord. We then were able to create different chords by changing different chords changes by putting 4 numbers together. Then we voted on which was our favorite.
Next we started writing the lyrics to our song, and we first needed to learn about the song structure in order to know what we were writing the lyrics for. We were able to use the words or phrases that supported our theme along with rhythms, and we created for the phrases to help us write complete lines of lyrics which treated the words as if we were telling a story. We used various websites to help find the rhythms for our lyrics, as well as some help from Mr. Velez.
After we wrote lyrics, we needed to figure out how our song would sound. Mr. Velez acted as our music producer and executed any ideas that we had. We got to pick the instruments used in the song, and he let us use any other musical ideas we had. We then needed to create the music videos for the songs. We learned what a storyboard was used for and used it to figure out what would be going to be in each scene. We then assigned actors and camera holders to each scene and were able to record the music video in about 3 to 5 days.
Then we needed to promote our song. We had already learned how to advertise a song or band because before this project began, we each created a fake band poster in class. We each created a poster promoting our song and had put it up around the school ourselves. Now, everyone is voting on which song is their favorite. Anyone with a Derry School District email is currently able to vote until the end of the day tomorrow. Whichever song wins gets a pizza party.
The goal of this assignment was to show what making and releasing music in today's world really looks like. We were able to talk about the roles that everyone played in writing the song and the people that fit into those roles in real life. We also had to learn about effective ways to get people's attention in a poster so people would be more likely to look at ours. We have a small section from each song here for you to listen to today. If you would like, visit bit.ly/Huskify to listen to and vote on your favorite song. You can play the video.
Tired of the rage base, starting to hyperventilate.
It all gets so annoying because the mean ones keep on trolling.
Brain rot's all you talk about. There's the dorso.
If you think that we're all rocking.
No pizza like New York style, but I've been living off jerk chicken for a while. In New York, you can buy a bacon burger and fries, but nothing beats that late night Times Square sky. Midnights.
Walking slow. I'm going insane. That gold chain of yours about to go down the drain.
In the hall or at the mall, you're moving slower than a baby slow.
Talking to friends or posting on the gram. Nah, you really need these grams.
Hopped off a boat in Honolulu. The sea wave got me feeling a little delulu. Got me fully surrounded by the deep blue sea. Kinda makes me want a pink iced tea. The sun is hot as a piping cup of tea, but I'm feeling it free as a bumblebee. The ice is melting in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if anyone had any questions, they can, some of my students are happy to answer them.
So that was very entertaining. You guys are very creative. Could I please have that website once again?
Yes, it is bit.ly/Huskify, which is HUSKIFYGHH.
Thank you.
So this is a neat project. You guys had an opportunity to work with, different mediums, creating the song, creating the video. What would you say was your favorite part of that?
My favorite part was crafting the lyrics because I thought it was really unique because we already had a little bass beat for my song about Hawaiian happiness. So, we were just kind of go off that. A lot of Lilo and Stitch, being happy at the beach, just stuff like that. I thought crafting all the lyrics was really fun.
Awesome.
To expand more on that, we have keyboards in our room, obviously, and one of them played a specific song that some of the boys in the back of the class really liked. So I took that song, I recorded it, and used it as a sample in their song. That was the song at the very end.
So like on the topic of sampling, we had me and Dylan do the trend that should I do it?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
That? Yeah. So he sampled we did the national anthem and he sampled that at the end of our song and played it, so it sounds really cool at the end.
Yeah, so any of you interested in now maybe going into music production, or is any of this piquing your interest that you might want to continue it in high school, or was this just a fun project?
Anyone want to answer on that? Jackson? Sure. Absolutely.
So if sports don't work out for me, I had a lot of fun making the beat also, or doing the writing. So maybe a ghostwriter or a producer, because making the beat was just really fun for me.
Anyone else?
I just want to thank you again for coming this evening. And I know you titled it Modern Music, and I think that's really intriguing now as we're trying to catch kids' attentions when we were in school and learning the recorder or the guitar maybe, and now we have little producers here. So outstanding job, and we thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
This is a really neat project. It obviously really engaged you guys. And I mean, I think it's great to introduce everyone to the fact that there are a lot of different ways you can go in the entertainment industry. You know, not everybody has to be a singer or on stage. You know, there are lots of different directions you can go.
What does the winning music video get?
A free pizza party.
Oh.
Funded by me.
Excellent. Good luck to you guys.
Hey, while we're here, I did want to just take one opportunity to let you all know Jeff is a new teacher in our district this year. We're really fortunate to have really talented people like Jeff. He's also a product of the Derry schools, so there's a lot of reasons for us to be proud today, not just of these young people, but not too long ago. I remember when Jeff was a student in the Derry schools. So it's really great to see people come back and work in the community. And like I said, we're very fortunate to have Jeff.
Some people don't love to hear that I graduated middle school in 2016, but
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys. All right, we'll take a quick 5-minute recess and then we'll be back. The next item on the agenda will be delegations and individuals. At this time, residents of Derry, parents of currently enrolled Derry students, and employees of the district may address the school board on matters that pertain to school and district business for a period of time not to exceed 3 minutes per person. As a reminder, questions cannot be answered in real time. If you would like to speak, please come up to the microphone at this time and state your name and address for the record.
Oh, he's taking a jacket off.
Good evening. Jonathan Dugan, 5 Village Brook Lane. I came here tonight to give my thoughts on this year's budget process. I wasn't necessarily shocked on this year's, I wasn't necessarily shocked by the proposed budget, but I have grown a little concerned, and I felt it was important to share what I wanted to say tonight before a consensus was reached on that proposed budget. So this year's proposed budget, as it stands right now, includes an increase of about $10 to $11 million. I recognize that several major pressures are driving this, and many of them are not optional. Teacher salaries, the repair bond, and special education costs are key drivers, all while the state reduces its contributions to the town. These are real, unavoidable factors, and I appreciate that the administration has been clear about them. What concerns me is not the existence of these challenges, but the level of engagement around them. I was surprised to hear that only a handful of people submitted questions to the administration, and that in recent public meetings, both committee and board members appeared unsure about what outcomes they wanted or areas they believed should be analyzed. These budget meetings are the exact place to press for answers, to test assumptions, and ask the hard what-if questions. The idea of needing additional meetings outside the scheduled ones suggests that the opportunities right in front of us are not being fully used. I want to be clear about something. It is absolutely appropriate for board members and fiscal advisory members to ask something like, how do we reduce both the default budget and the proposed budget? What would a 2% reduction look like? Or even, what were the 5 items left off of this budget? Those are not unreasonable questions, and they are the kind of questions that help guide decision-making, frame trade-offs, and keep the conversation grounded in real scenarios. Asking them is not overstepping, it's part of the job. If the community genuinely wants lower taxes, then we need to be transparent. We need to have a transparent conversation that acknowledges the trade-offs. You can only reduce spending by providing fewer services or delivering those services differently. That means every part of the district operation should be open to review, not just the visible ones. Some of that work has been started with facilities and transportation, but it must continue. That analysis is needed across the rest of the organization, like administrative staffing and compensation, contracted services, special education, building operations, technology, and more. Finally, I want to remind the fiscal advisory members and the school board that you volunteered for these roles. You signed up to do the hard work, not just to attend the meetings. The community expects you to be engaged, to prepare, and to ask detailed questions about the budgeting process. When Mike and Jane offered to meet, to provide background, or to walk you through data, taking them up on that offer is the minimum expectation. Every budget year is challenging, and the decisions you make will have real consequences for the students, for the staff, and for the taxpayers. That's exactly why your engagement matters so much. Thank you again for your time and your service to the town. Good luck finalizing and passing a fair and reasonable budget this year.
Thank you, John.
Good evening, everybody. Brian Churchello, 6 Rollins Street. I was a little disturbed to hear that the budget this year for the school board was going to be 10.88%. And I'm going to tell you why. As a past town councilor who did 18 years on the town council, we operated under a tax cap, which means whatever the inflation rate was, the CPI, that's what we had to work with. So for 18 years, and actually longer than 18 years, the town has operated under a tax cap with adjustments of CPI, and this year it's like 2.5%. 10.88% is way too much. That's my opinion. That's number one. Number two, I was doing some research by accident to be honest with you. And I got on a site called the Best Middle Schools, U.S. News and World Report. I don't know if there's any truth to it. I don't know. I know there's no back and forth, but what I'd like you to do is I'm going to give you what I found out, and then maybe at a future time you can explain that these numbers were wrong. So the two middle schools that we have, Gilbert H. Hood, ranked number 78 out of 115. West Runningbrook, 86 out of 115. Both schools have a teacher ratio of 12-1. Again, I don't know if these are accurate or not. Please find out and correct me if I'm wrong. This is a website, again, U.S. News and World Report. Then I find out that the test scores for both Gilbert Hood and West Runningbrook, the math proficiency was 29%. 29%? So 7 out of 10 kids can't do math at a proficient level? I don't understand that. Reading, 46%. More than half the kids can't read. Now, middle school is important because these kids are going into Pinkerton very soon. And I'm a little upset because we're spending $110 million each and every year, and I'm not getting the results, okay, that I would expect as a taxpayer. I looked at Wyndham. Wyndham ranked number 7 out of 115. Their proficiency scores were 71 and 72, both math and reading. Wyndham's doing something right. I think maybe someone needs to go down to Wyndham and figure out what they're doing that we can bring here to Derry. Okay, I know the superintendent, I haven't met him yet. I know he's new. I did see that he posted some goals. I thought that was great. I think maybe adding the fact that the proficiency levels for our middle schools should be looked at. And I challenge the school board to do, that's the most important work. That's very important. And lastly, I heard of a program that the schools did that was created by Oprah Winfrey. And there was a lot of angst about some of this stuff that was talking about suicide and getting kids all riled up. I can't figure that out. Why are we spending $200,000 on programs like that when we can't even do proficiency in math and reading? Folks, this needs to change. And so please find out if I'm wrong. I'm wrong. This is posted on the website, U.S. News and World Report. Thank you.
All right, I am not seeing anyone else come to the microphone, so we will move on with the meeting. However, the public comment period will remain open until 7:19 p.m. If you wish to speak prior to that time, please approach the microphone and I will recognize you at the next break in the agenda. Our next item will be the student member updates. First up will be Mr. Henry with the Pinkerton Academy update.
Thank you. I'll be quick because we have a Patriots game tonight at 8:15, so we got to get out before that. So Pinkerton did really well in sports over the last few weeks. We won cross country a few weeks ago, as I think many of you know. And this past weekend, we were victorious in cheer, varsity cheer and junior varsity cheer, as well as volleyball. And girls volleyball, this is the first time Pinkerton has won that championship in the school's history. So that was a pretty big deal, and it was pretty exciting to be at that game. Today, we opened Astro's Closet. It was opened by Key Club and a few other teacher subcommittees that had been working on it for several years. It is a free resource center that has clothes and other materials for students in need, completely free for the community. And it was opened in what was previously the girls' PE locker room. So it was really great to see that open. I have a lot of friends in Key Club that were excited about that. And this past Veterans Day, I got to participate in my final Veterans Day breakfast as a class officer. My class has been in charge of planning that every year for the last 4 years that I've been there. It was great to see that we had, I believe, the largest turnout of the 4 years I've been there, so that was really cool for me to see. My fellow class officers were very happy as well, and the veterans seemed very happy too. So that was really cool. Progress reports went out last week, and we are officially halfway through the first semester. That is all I have.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Congrats to all the new Pinkerton champions, and good luck to the football team tomorrow night. They have their quarterfinal playoff game, right? All right. Anyone else have any questions for Anthony?
Do you have information on CTE night next week?
I do not. I'm sorry. I can pull that up and give it to you at the end of the meeting if you like.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Moshe was not able to be here tonight, so no next update this meeting. He'll be back for our next meeting. The next item is deliberations. First up, we have 4 policies that are up for their second reading. Mike, did you have any comments on these policies before I call for a vote?
No, any other questions? Nothing came in.
All right, if we have no questions, I will take a motion to adopt policies DJE, GBEBB, IKB, and BEDG as presented.
So moved.
First by Jen.
Second.
Second by Jenna. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next up, we have the report of the Derry Village School Advisory Committee. This committee was formed earlier in the fall to study possible uses for the Derry Village School. That committee has completed its work and provided the board with a recommendation. So,
thank you, Michael.
Take us through this.
I'm excited. In your board packet is the executive summary on the DVS recommendation to the school board. First, I want to thank the committee members. It was a high-achieving group who worked really diligently, on a pretty quick time frame. We did some field trips at both DVS and the SAU building. We met several times. The group was engaged and sent the administration on several homework assignments, as I kept calling it, in regards to accessing some information to make a pretty rational decision towards the end where we were going. In your packet, it became pretty clear. The background is, how do we use it for renovation use or district use? Excuse me. Do we sell the property, and how do we begin to manage it in the future? One thing that became pretty clear through the process is 18 South Main Street, the current building in which the SAU administration needs work itself. So that was a pretty clear discussion amongst the group on a couple things. Do we put money into 18 South Main Street and leave DVS as is right now, or do we transfer operations from 18 South Main Street to DVS to then reduce 18 South Main Street off the books? We talked about space and functionality. We discussed a lot of options. We talked about police station use. We talked about completely selling it and subdividing it. A lot of detailed discussion that the group engaged in. The market analysis is not a true valuation, but a true valuation would have taken closer to 8 to 10 weeks. But we needed an estimate of what we may be able to get in the future. So we got an estimate both on 18 South Main Street as well as DVS. Numbers were pretty favorable in regards to selling of the current SAU and then DVS. At the same time, it's just an estimate and it's not a true evaluation. So when we came to the recommendation or the bottom line, the removing of the SAU for double maintenance, plowing, electricity, IT, so forth and so on, and relocating it to DVS became the focus of the discussion. As we continue to talk about a cost analysis or return on your investment, which was very important to the group, we got an estimate of what it would take to move the adults from 18 South into DVS. And just building some offices within classrooms, updating the IT, the infrastructure along those lines, and with that cost analysis equated to what the initial estimate of, I'm using 18 South Main Street, so I'm not, so the initial estimate of 18 South Main Street would be for a resale value. So essentially it'd be a zero cost to the taxpayer. The delta would be zero if we got the minimum of what the market estimate was. So In conclusion, the DVS committee unanimously recommended that they move this to the board for the relocation of the operations of the SAU to DVS, and then to sell 18 South Main Street. That would require a
Warrant.
Thank you. Warrant article. That would include a warrant article, and then, more importantly, real estate is one of the reasons boards can go into non-public for discussion. So you'd be able to create the RFP the way we wanted, what we may or may not want out of the buyer, and then the board would ultimately have the decision on whether the value comes in or not. We did get legal advice on the right to first refusal because it's technically still a school or was used for a school. So whatever the bids come in on, we, through the New Hampshire Ed, would post the availability, and a charter school could come in and match the offer. They can never undercut what the offer is. So they can either match or pass. So we did our due diligence on the process and what it would take. I mean, I see Tom out there. I know there was a lot. It was just a great discussion on the value of the land that we're on. To get into some of the phases briefly, phase 1 would be move the adults into DVS and sell 18 South Main Street. The next recommendation would be to possibly move deep operations out of Hood into the one section of the wing that's hanging in there with some possible CIP improvements. And then we really even took it a step further, whether it be demolishing the front half and building soccer fields. All that takes time and effort and coordination with the town, but the recommendation initially is to move the adults out of the SAU into DVS, sell 18 South Main Street, and then we begin that next work as a board on what we want to do.
All right.
Questions?
I would say thank you to the administration, the board members, the community representatives that served on the committee over the last few weeks. Speaking for myself, I agree with the conclusion the committee has come to. Anyone who spent time in the SAU building knows what poor condition it's in. Half the square footage is in a 30-year-old portable, attached to the back of a 125-year-old school. And the property that it's on is pretty limited. And, the 2000 edition at DVS is still in pretty decent condition, especially when we're talking about using it for office space, with some improvements. And, we can't forget about the ball fields that are on the property that are, pretty significant to the town's Parks and Rec department. And keeping the property keeps the, the district, gives us some flexibility for the future as well.
Yeah, the one other part we wanted to continue emphasize is to make it a usable spot for the community. So even though the first phase would be relocating us, it's that next phase on how do we continue to use the property. And I think there was a lot of great ideas. The challenge is that wasn't the charge of the steering committee. The charge of the steering committee is that first level. And then from there, we either begin it at the board level or it goes to facilities for discussion on what we should be doing. That's really the purpose of committee work. So.
Yep. Yeah, and so what we're asking for from the board tonight is to take a vote to affirm the recommendation of the committee so the administration can start doing that preliminary works and the studies necessary to get this project off the ground. So, RFPs, approvals on any actual construction work would come to the board later, especially if we are looking at, possibly using contingency funds, which would require a public hearing and a board vote. So,
I just wanted to, for those who are watching it, it looks like none of us have questions, but just like this went to us, and then if we had questions, we reached out to you and got our answers. So I don't want this to appear that we're all just finding this out now and just going with the flow. We all kind of did our own things behind the scenes. So I had a couple questions, and you had answered them to me. One of my big concerns, and I just want to make sure, is I was always under the impression that one of the reasons that we closed DVS was because it was not feasible to keep up and running with the maintenance that needed to be done for children to be in the school. So having adults go into the section, into the newer and the back part, there's obviously different standards of having grown-ups in a building than there are having kids in the building. But if phase 2 is going to be to move deep in there, I want to make sure, like I said, I was always under the impression that it wasn't wise. It didn't financially, it wasn't wise for us to have kids in there because the amount of work that needed to be done to keep it negated keeping it open. So where is it that we are looking in the long term, making it financially worthwhile to having deep in that building? Again, I know that that's phase 2 or 3 or wherever we are. How can we say that this is going to be a good choice if it wasn't a good choice to keep it open before?
Sure. So thanks, Jenna, for that. When I send out preliminary reports to the board, it's for your digestion. That's the purpose. And we allow that opportunity to have an hour conversation about your questions rather than an hour conversation necessarily at this time. So thank you for bringing that forward. In regards to the discussion, we talked about, prior to me, I have to say that, that was evaluated for full operation status. So that's full load of kids, all the classrooms, all the adults. And that decision was made on whether it was DVS or South Range. When we were evaluating it, the first move, that middle section where we would move the operations into, can withhold what we're doing. And we had recommendations that we would be fine for capital improvement plans for 2, 3, 4 years down the road. So that, again, gets South Main Street off the books, and you're only investing into that portion of the building where the adults are. In regards to the next phase, there's going to have to be a bigger discussion at the board. The reason why it really happened at that level was, how do we get a return on our investment? So specifically in the first phase, the multi-purpose room, we're going to, not to be determined, but tear the middle wall down and make that a leasable space for our community. So full basketball courts, practices, gym, gymnastics, cheerleading, so forth and so on. The reason why deep came up is because it is a space taker-upper in Hood. I guess that's the easiest way to say that. And then the next part is it's a revenue driver. So currently we have five classrooms, right? 5, thank you. And at this committee level, we are spitballing ideas, and we don't have a full-time deep program. It's only part-time. So another revenue driver. If that decision is made or wants to, then yes, we're going to have to talk about those capital improvement plans you discussed. I can't rehash the decisions that were made now almost 2 years ago, but the committee was very thoughtful on, let's not just get a building off the books and let it continue to sit. Let's see what we can do in the future.
What is the timeline that you are looking to start? So phase 1, is it this year or is it the start of school next year?
Yeah, and Michael kind of alluded to it. So this would be the first step for the approval, and then we would have to do our job on when could we get someone in there, when could the bids go out, all those things with Jobin, who's, again, been such a great asset for us. We would have to hold a public hearing because remember the goal is to pull from contingency, which would allow us to get the work started. And then when we sell it, that would come in as revenue, which would go then back into contingency. So it would be a net zero. I would love the sooner the better, so that if we could get out of the property May, June-ish, then you can get it on the market at the right time. Like there's some of that stuff too. So we don't need to continue holding on to a building that is falling apart. We should start to begin investing into the next part.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no further questions, I will take a motion to affirm the report of the Derry Village School Advisory Committee and to direct the administration to begin the initial work for the relocation of the SAU to the Derry Village School.
Second.
First by Brenda, second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Again, thank you to the committee. We were meeting every week at a certain point, and then we were waiting on reports, and they were kind. So thank you to everyone on being patient.
All right. The next item on our agenda is the administration reports. Jane, you're up with your business administrator's update.
Okay. I've been working all week with Mike and trying to finalize our numbers as we prepare for tax rate setting. So I'm sure I'll be working with Mark Fleischer from the town, as well as the Department of Revenue, so that we can finalize that. Also, adequacy numbers should be coming out tomorrow. They're required by law to come out on November 15th. So we should have those tomorrow. And we were just notified that our single audit is going to be on ESSER funds and IDEA. IDEA is our special education federal funds. You may remember single audits are different than our full audit. Single audit is very focused on one portion of our budget, and it's always on any projects that you receive funds of more than like $750,000. So we're always going to have a single audit every year. They just pick and choose which things that they want to audit. So both our ESSER programs in 24-25 had expenditures and revenues more than $750,000, as well as special education. So this will be our fourth different audit that we've been working on this year. We just received all of the requests for information that we have to provide to the auditors, so we should be getting that out by the beginning of next week, and I'm confident that it's going to be a really, really good audit. And lastly, received a few more free and reduced applications this week, so people are still qualifying and still being approved. So we want to make sure that we encourage people to get those applications in. You can do it online on our website, and you can also get a paper copy. If you don't feel comfortable doing it online, you can get a paper copy in any one of our schools. And lastly, I just want to thank Butch Tempe, who works at Walmart, who's also a Derry resident, and he's always been very generous when they have materials to do donations. He always reaches out to me to offer them to the school district. This week we were able to pick up 1,671 boxes of 24-count crayons for the district at a value of $2,406.24. So it's under the threshold that you need to approve receiving that donation, so it's more of a notification, but I want to make sure I thank him, and then we'll make sure that those get distributed throughout the schools. So thank you to him and Walmart for doing that.
That's great.
Thank you, Jane. Anybody have any questions for Jane tonight? All right, next up will be Mike with the superintendent's update.
Thank you. Before I get to the fiscal committee update, I'm going to go through my list really quickly, if you don't mind. Couple positives that have come in our favor. So the educational lawsuit that we were a part of for multiple years, I mentioned before, we won, and part of the agreement was reimbursement for legal fees. So that settlement finally came in. We received a check for nearly $29,000 for our legal fees. So that goes into our unanticipated revenue at the time. We also, honestly, might as well, hot off the wire. Essentially, Judge Ruoff had just closed the case as of this afternoon, so there's no more appeal process. So now it's up to the legislative body to find a way to fund the new standard for public education. So if I find that email in a minute, I will update you. Our Vets Breakfast was the first participation for me here in Derry, and I just blown away by it. It was over 200 people. The students were phenomenal in their star shirts. Melissa Kershaw, who ran the event, was organized and without a doubt on top of it. And then, fun fact, thank you to the food service department with Christina and her group, but the business department, Jane was there as well, rolling the carts back and forth from the cafeteria to the gymnasium. What a powerful moment. And Sergeant Breen, man, he just did a phenomenal speech there as a keynote speaker. It really gave me goosebumps. So it was great to see everyone. Mr. Tripp was there, and all the vets in town. So congrats to everyone there, and thank you to everyone that certainly participated. Wrapping up with the Fiscal Advisory Committee, I want to thank everyone there as well. It's been a unique process for me. I met with Anthony this afternoon. Thank you. Yesterday, they all run together, Anthony. And he had a lot of great questions. But more importantly, I've been here 4 months, and I've been working on the budget for about 8 weeks, significantly with Jane. It's a tall task. And I appreciate the Fiscal Advisory Committee for being patient with me. couple things I just want to reiterate that the final number is not the final number. We're not near the final number yet. That 10% is still the initial projection. Pinkerton could come in lower, adequacy could come in higher. There could be some other changes that may or may not occur. And I appreciate the public comment. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near 10% when we're all said and done. I think that's our job. It's our hard work to go in and dive into those lines as was discussed. I was clear at fiscal advisory that I want to make sure that we're presenting something that's fair to the taxpayers, that they have a choice. And I said that at the advisory committee. So not a dollar, whether it's 100 above, 100 below, whatever it may or may not be. I also mentioned in regards to positions that it's a challenge to identify really early on as a new superintendent what could go, what should stay, what should reallocate. We've already had some of those discussions internally in regards to open positions being reassociated. We've talked about adding a nurse, but not adding a nurse to the budget. How do we reallocate those funds? So we're really into that phase of it. We have some homework to do between now and the December meeting. One of the first numbers is Pinkerton. That's really going to help us try and target some of those costs. But I want to reiterate that the goal is to lower the surplus and properly budget to become predictable over the next 4, 5, 6 years. Right? We don't want spikes. We want to be able to show the taxpayer where we're going and what we're doing with it. I met with Elizabeth this afternoon as a fiscal advisory committee, and I said, using smaller numbers, if I ask for $100, I want to spend $100. I don't want to ask for $2 knowing I'm going to spend $100. So we're really trying to target those lines and figure out where we can really rein it in and maybe reassociate some of the costs. So I just want to say I want to say about 3 or 4 weeks to go, and I feel pretty good. Jane and I have sat down and did some work already on where we think we can target some of those approaches. I'm still open to any meetings, any community member that wants to come in and learn about it. We're putting together a FAQ sheet. We're putting together a special ed information packet so you can understand where the costs are coming from. I'm really hoping that everyone feels comfortable with what we put forward at the end. So, questions on fiscal advisory?
I had the opportunity to sit down with both of you over the last week. I think we knew that we were going to have a bigger than normal percentage increase this year. We have the increases approved by the voters. It's going to be the biggest payment on the bond this year. We have year 2 of the DEA contract, year 3 of the ASME contract, and that's on top of the expected drivers that we have, with costs every year. But I think, like you said, that number that we saw at the last fiscal advisory meeting, it is jarring, but that's not where we're going to end up. It's not just about, where the default number is, but I know that you guys are working on, areas where that you can reduce. We're still waiting on the final tuition number from Pinkerton. So, yeah, I think the expectation is that when we come to that next fiscal advisory meeting in December, we're going to have the final Pinkerton tuition number, that we're not going to be in the ballpark that we were at this last meeting.
We met with our legal counsel in regards to default to make sure that we were articulate and calculated. So I feel pretty confident on where that number is. If Pinkerton comes down, default comes down. So there's a couple of those that are contractual obligations that would also affect the default. But, just in speaking with Jane, actually, I'm going to reference Anthony's conversation. I might be taking too far of a leap to try and get to where I want to go in year 1. Right? So maybe I need to space it out. Instead of fully investing in the mentor program or the new teacher program that Joe built, maybe we invest halfway and we figure out where the other funds come from. So those are some of the things that I discussed, that when I was putting everything forward, I was putting it forward as we're already there, but that's my job to either pull it back or reevaluate what we put forward. That's what you guys are paying me to do. So we're going to work hard, and I think we're going to feel pretty good when we start coming back.
All right, thanks, Mike. Any other questions? All right. Next item will be committee reports. We'll start with the policy committee. We have some first reads.
I am taking the lead on this, as I am the policy nerd. So first read is BBBC, school member resignation. For the board, just so that you're aware, at the committee level, we're trying to find ones that haven't been reevaluated in a long time. We're also pulling things forward that NHSBA has recommended, or we are doing things that aren't on the books yet. So as you see, some of these, they vary quite differently. But with board member resignation, that is just looking to be moved forward for reaffirmed. No changes to the policy. Yeah, excuse me. Okay, DAF-3, Jane brought this forward. There was federal changes down. You will see. It was the number, right, Jane? Right there.
Yep.
Excuse me. Page 3 at the top, you'll see there were changes in the federal requirements. So it was the 10,000 shifted to 15,000 and 250,000 shifted to 350,000. That was a federal requirement. That wasn't that we made that up. That came forward through federal. DFC, acceptance of credit card electronic payments. We found that we needed to update that full day kindergarten is now covered. We do not need to accept payments on that, and that we added child nutrition as other payments. So those would be the two changes in that policy. And then attendance, tardiness, and truance policy, policy JF. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom over the next couple weeks when you're reviewing, you will see that some of the words specifically at the appeal process, there is no such thing as a school. By the way, this was last reviewed in 2013. There's no such thing as a school attendance committee. We have what we call now a wraparound team. So we updated the vocabulary to match what the process would actually be. So those are those changes that are moving forward for first read. Certainly, if you have questions, you can reach out to Brenda as the vice chair, whatever we are, co-chairs of the policy committee.
All right, so if there are no questions about these policies will come up for a second reading and a vote at our next meeting on November 24th. And public comment on these policies would be welcome at that meeting during delegations and individuals. Next up will be Jenna with an update from the Finance Committee.
I have nothing to add because everything we did in finance, Jane has already gone over. I feel like everything I could possibly say would be redundant.
Can I add one thing, Jenna?
Yeah.
So the one thing is, at finance, we started to talk about warrant articles. So if you want to reach out to Jenna or Jane in regards to thoughts on warrant articles, it's an initial discussion point that obviously comes to the board, but it's on the agenda for the next meeting.
Oh, I do have one thing that we talked about. I guess we are in need of an assistant treasurer. And I guess we have been in need of an assistant treasurer for years. It's been out there advertised. Apparently the carrot is not big enough. I don't know. So it's a stipend position, and it would be basically assisting David Clapp, who is our current treasurer. If you go onto the SAU website, it is listed there under jobs. I think that was pretty much it. Yes, not much to update. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna. Yeah, so finance is a new committee that just started last year, and it's kind of starting to get its legs under it. So one thing we did do was, we started to go over, do a bit more of a deep dive into areas of the current budget, to look at, what's driving costs, where are we over, where are we under. And, I think that's a pretty good use of time to, kind of provide that more in-depth oversight, take a deeper dive into the budget. Next up will be Jen with the Curriculum Committee update.
The Curriculum Committee last met on Thursday, November 6th. At that time, Kim Conant, the Director of Curriculum, who co-chairs that committee with me, was unable to attend due to a conflict in scheduling, so she had Patty Thomas, the Secondary Learning Coordinator, step in her place. The committee has, over the past several meetings, been doing a systematic overview of curriculum in the district, and this meeting we focused on the area of science from K to 8. As a reminder, this is just a way for the committee to sort of level set under Mike's leadership and in the direction that we're heading as a committee with our goals articulated. So the discussion focused on science, broken up into 2 topics, K to 5 and then grades 6 to 8. Patty explained that over the past 3 years, the district has developed and implemented a new next generation science standard aligned science curriculum that provides students with a strong basis to be taking the New Hampshire SAS in grade 5. SAS is an acronym for the statewide assessment system, which is the state's general summative assessment. So that's a standardized test, essentially, that gets taken in science in grades 5, 8, and 11. So the first time that students are taking that test for science is in grade 5. So the focus more recently has shifted in grades 6 to 8. Patty explained that she's been working on developing teacher-friendly curriculum, instructional guides that really clearly articulate expectations, that includes direct access to standards, learning activities, common assessments. All of these are being developed by Patty, and she showed us a portal that is essentially a one-stop shop for science curriculum. It was quite impressive, and the committee, I think, was really appreciative of the work that she shared. The layout and the structure of that portal, Patty explained, has gotten very positive feedback from teachers in the district, so I was very happy to hear about that. Again, these resources are designed to support consistency across the classrooms while giving teachers practical tools and guides to use for instruction. I want to thank you, Patty, for coming to that meeting. Patty is new to that role. She was hired a few months ago to be the secondary learning coordinator. It's very clear that Patty's bringing a lot of great energy to the role, and I think a lot of good ideas, and I'm looking forward to continuing to collaborate with you. The next meeting of the curriculum committee is Thursday, November 20th. That's next Thursday at 10 a.m. at the SAU office. Agenda and meeting minutes, as always, are posted on the SAU website under School Board tab, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
No questions? All right, yeah, I would echo your praise of Mrs. Thomas. She was a, fantastic teacher at West Running Brook, and I think, she's excelling in that new role.
I think too, I'll just add now that I'm thinking about it, it was brought up today in public comment. The statewide assessment system data is looked at closely by that committee. There's not a meeting that goes by that we don't talk about the data that's being collected either from the NEWA. Forgive me, somebody's going to have to provide me that acronym. Joe, what's the NEWA stand for?
Northwest Educational Association or assessment, but they're a nonprofit that started out in the Northwest but is now sort of international.
Okay, so the 2 acronyms that we use for standardized data collection, the NEWA and the SAS, the State Assessment System, we do look at that data very closely. And Patty did bring attention to us that after coming out of the pandemic, science SAS scores were relatively low. The district has been prioritizing science for that reason from K to 5. Also meeting with Pinkerton to sort of align our curriculum with what's being taught there to better prepare students for the curriculum they'll be facing at Pinkerton. So these are ongoing conversations that we have. I think data is very important to be collecting and analyzing. I also think that data is one point. And so the committee certainly takes that under advisement when we're making decisions, but it is part of discussions that we're having on an ongoing basis.
All right, thank you, Jen. Finally, we have Jason and an update from facilities.
Great, thanks. So we met last Thursday as well, and the big topic of discussion was the structural report for South Range. Thad from Lincoln Haney Engineering was present and really gave us a comprehensive dive into everything that needs to happen at South Range. So realistically, the committee decided to at least initially look at 100% fix. We discussed potential timelines along with any potential delays. This is going to be a fairly complex project, so it's very important that sequencing is lined up appropriately with engineering kind of being priority 1 in terms of shoring up the structural integrity of the building. Then what happens next? Roofs, rooftop units, facade, those sort of things. So there's a lot happening. The goal is to have the projects, as we discussed previously, some of them start next year, and then sequence them out depending, so there's no disruption to students. We expect, and maybe it's already come in, but the proposal from Lincoln Haney this week, or at some point next week, I would assume. We also discussed with Mark Jobin exterior doors, windows across the district, and then LaValle Rensinger drawings for project bidding for those projects. So a lot happening with facilities. It's never ending. The train never stops moving. But big priority for us now that West Running Brook's mostly wrapped up, is South Range and really teeing that up. So when kids are out of the building, we can really start to attack everything that's going on there. So that's about it. Happy to answer any questions.
Can you remind everybody what the big ticket items on South Range are that we are looking at to tackle first?
I just said it. Structure.
Well, but we're talking, yes, but what does that, I'm sorry.
Basically, all of the bones of the building, everything that's realistically keeping the building up, a lot of it needs to be either repaired or replaced. The roof needs to be replaced. The HVAC needs to be replaced. The facade needs to be repaired, replaced. There's a lot.
It's a complex ballet of, 3 major projects that all have to be done in coordination with each other. The HVAC is going on the roof, and the roof is not only being replaced, but it has to be shored up to be able to support the weight of the HVAC equipment. And then, doing the facade at the same time, and the most complicated part is, coordinating all the different trades who are going to be doing all these different projects. So that's what Mark Jobin and the team is going through right now. So those projects will be ready to go for the start of the summer.
I only ask that on like a rudimentary level because we always have people coming in at all different times starting to follow this journey, not necessarily knowing what with the bond or what was average. So not saying that every day we have to start from square one, but I just wanted to okay, these are our big tickets and this is why. So structure is a very vague term. So that's why I was just asking you as a quick breakdown for anybody new to this program.
Sure. And as always, the website, sau10.org, plenty of stuff around facilities. There's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of documents and pictures and studies and reports and everything that anybody could possibly want. They could get so far into the weeds that they don't even know where they started. So there's a lot. South Range needs a lot of work, and the reality is we're kind of rebuilding the entire school is what needs to happen. So.
All right, thanks, Jason. No more questions? All right, next up will be FYIs and member updates. I wanted to echo Mike's praise of West Running Brook's Veterans Breakfast last Friday. The gym was packed this year after, having been in the cafeteria for a little while. Everyone was treated to a great meal. I thought the WRB students knocked it out of the park. The Kids Care Club members were serving food. A few of them gave speeches. There were performances from the chorus and the band. The student council put together a video, and to kind of echo what you said, the guest speakers were excellent. We had student Riley Bannister from Pinkerton's ROTC program spoke, and Marine veteran Lieutenant Breen from the Derry PD also gave a great speech. Then after the event, the entire school came out, and the veterans got the opportunity to loop around the school while everybody cheered for them. So it's a pretty, it's an inspiring event. It's a great thank you to the veterans in our community, and it's also a great learning experience for the kids at West. So congrats again to Melissa Kershaw and the other staff members over there for putting on a tremendous event. We also had the first meeting of the Start Times Task Force this afternoon, just before this meeting. I don't know if, Jen, you have any update from that group?
I
I don't really know if I have an update. It was really kind of an introductory conversation around getting that committee going. We're going to be meeting next Thursday, and I believe the 11th as well, which is also the next date for the Fiscal Advisory Committee.
All right, good to know that that work is underway. Anybody else have any other updates to provide?
I wanted to wish everyone a happy sophomore semi-formal this coming up on Saturday night. I hope the kids have a great time. And you can elaborate if you want to, Anthony, about the CTE night, but I will say that the CTE night is next Thursday on the 20th. From 5 to 6:30 p.m. Have you been before, Anthony?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just give a quick little synopsis for anybody, especially 8th graders and 9th graders. Anybody wants information about the different CTE programs that Pinkerton offers, it's a great an opportunity to go. It's like a fair, and all of the CTE programs set up tables. Some of them have activities. The directors are there. Current students of CTE are there. And this is a really important event for the 10th graders if you plan on going to CTE, because you've got to pick and apply for it in January. So I highly encourage 9th and 10th graders to attend this and get an idea so that you can get on the list to apply for the programs.
Students do need to register in advance too, just as a heads up.
All right, thank you guys. If there are no other updates, our upcoming meeting schedule, our next regular meeting will be Thanksgiving week on Monday, November 24th, followed by our lone December meeting on Tuesday, December 9th, both at 6:30 p.m. here at the Municipal Center. And also a reminder, the next meeting of the Fiscal Advisory Committee will be on Thursday, December 11th, 6:30 p.m. in the cafeteria, West Runningbrook. With that, we have no non-public business tonight, so if there is no other business, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Jason.
Second.
Second by Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Good night, everybody.